Hey there everyone, I'm back with another tutorial. Today I'm going to be teaching you the basics of how to record on Adobe Audition. This is going to be a pretty quick and straightforward tutorial. Adobe is pretty user-friendly when it comes to recording. There's a lot of stuff that has to go on behind the scenes as far as hooking up a microphone and balancing all your levels and all of that. In this case, please note that when I'm recording onto Adobe, rather than the voice you're hearing right now for the tutorial, I'm recording from my laptop microphone, so the quality is not going to be good by any stretch. I am putting a huge caveat here when I say I'm willing to bet if you ever hand me anything recorded right off your laptop, it's going to be audio that's worthy of failure. It's almost never good quality. The reason I'm not using a good high quality mic to record into Adobe is because right now my good high quality mic is being used to record my voiceover. The first thing you're going to want to do is open up a new audio file. You can do this one of two ways. You can go up to File, New, Audio File, which is pretty straightforward, or you can press Control-Shift-N or Command-Shift-N on a Mac. So once you click on that, you're going to be prompted with this dialog here, in which you're going to name your file. So in this case, I'm going to call it tutorial. You're going to set your sample rate and your channel and your bit depth. And honestly, this is all how you're probably going to want to set it up. I've said before, you can set it up higher at 48,000. That tends to be for higher quality recordings, like for TV and for movies. So with these settings, we're going to press OK. And we're greeted with an empty waveform. As far as recording goes, assuming the mic is hooked up correctly, all we need to do to record is to hit this red button here. So I'm going to do that right now. Check 1 2 1 2, check 1 2 1 2. So in order to stop my recording, I hit spacebar. You can also click on the stop button over on the side. So the reason I didn't record all my audio that I want to record in this go is because I'm quickly doing a sound check. So I'm making sure that my audio levels are coming out to somewhere around -6 to -12. We'll see I'm peaking a little bit, but in an initial recording, if we peak a little bit, that's okay, as long as we're not clipping. As long as our audio doesn't look like that, we're doing okay. The only other things to keep in mind are that when you're recording, you can also press G to deselect and just play it back once you're done. Check 1 2 1 2, check 1 2 1 2. If we don't like what we've heard, we can go back and do another sound check. We can adjust our settings on our mics and all of that. If we do like it, either way, we're still going to select everything. So I'm going to click and drag and just hit delete, because we don't need our sound check to be part of our final recording. The one thing we do want to be part of our recording is actually us not talking. We call it room noise. You may notice it, you may not notice it, depends how much work I do on editing this in post. But if I stay quiet for 1 second, you can hear things like my laptop fan or just random hums from the lights or the various things around me. It'd be like if you went downtown and recorded, you'd hear cars in the background and people and birds and all of that. Same idea, except room noise particularly is very disruptive to the ear. When we hear stuff in the background when we're trying to listen to a single voice, it can be difficult to pay attention. So by capturing room noise, we can do things in post that get rid of it. I'll be showing you that later on in this class. For right now, just remember that you should probably record it. Get in that habit so you don't have to worry about it in the future. So I'm going to record one more time, and you'll see that I leave a nice gap for room noise. This is Christopher Arndt recording for a tutorial. This is some sample audio for how to record on Adobe Audition. So you'll note that instead of pressing stop, I pressed pause on this recording. And what that does is, if, for example, I were in the middle of recording and I really needed to sneeze or get up or someone came to the door, whatever it may be, I can press pause so that when I come back, I don't have to start a whole new recording. I can just click pause again and record some audio as if nothing ever happened. The key to this is remembering what you were talking about so that things flow pretty well. And you can always listen back after and make any adjustments. So the only other thing I want to show you is, let's say you finished your recording. It's all good. We deselect so that it looks normal again, and we play it back. This is Christopher Arndt recording for a tutorial. This is some sample audio for how to record on Adobe Audition. And record some audio as if nothing ever happened. So let's say I don't like the second half of the audio when I came back from the pause. What we can do is we can highlight it, and then we can press record again to retake whatever we had said. So in my case, I ended with talking about how we're learning to record on Adobe Audition. And I could come back in and say something like, Adobe Audition is a useful tool to record voiceovers and other audio for projects. You'll note that once the playhead got to the end of my selection, it stopped. It didn't keep going, so I couldn't just keep talking if I wanted to. I'd be cut off. This is really good for if you have one line that you screwed up that you want to fix. The problem is you need to make sure your tone sounds the same across your entire recording, and this can be an issue. More often than not, I recommend just re-recording the entire thing, or that at least the chunk that all that audio is in. It tends to flow more naturally. But if you were in a pinch, you could do something like this. So before I get to exporting this audio, which we've talked about before, but it's always good to get a reminder, I just want to go over the highlights. Just remember that most of the work is up front. It's plugging in your mic, making sure your audio sounds okay, your levels are good, capturing stuff like room noise. The recording itself is its own kind of work, but the technical stuff comes before that. More often than not, when you have the chance, I recommend someone else monitor your audio while you're recording. It tends to make things flow a bit more smoothly. That way someone can listen in, make sure that you're nailing your lines, make sure that your audio's at the right level, make sure that your S's or your P's aren't popping on your microphone, which we'll talk about in the coming weeks. But yeah, so just remember that hitting space or the stop button stops your audio entirely, and you'll have to restart a new file. And that hitting pause pauses your audio so that if you need to walk away for a second, you can come back like nothing ever happened. Remember that when you're creating a new audio file, 44/100 hertz and 32 bits is perfectly fine for our use. And that your audio levels should always try to fall between -6 and -12. But as long as we're not way quiet or way blown out, we can tend to play around with it in post. So with that, we should be getting another tutorial this week of me showing you how to set up the microphone and the soundboard in the recording booths at the college, which is one way that you guys will be able to record audio. The other ways I'll hopefully be able to show you in class. Beyond that, I hope to see you in class, and I hope you make use of this tutorial and all the previous ones, and have a good one.